Are you suffering with chronic aches and pains? Maybe a sore back, neck, hips, your knee pain? Hi, I'm Cora Naylor, Emotion Code practitioner. A lot of people suffer with the pains, like I said, in your necks, your backs, for all kinds of different reasons, whether you were in an accident or just, something happened to you. And the thing with pain is some of it is physical and some of it can also be emotional. The emotional part is literally balls of energy that get stored in your body all over, and they can just be the pain. You have that pain in your neck. It literally can be a ball of energy that's inside there. So the good news is we can release the emotional part using the emotion code. So the emotion code is a process where you can release trapped emotions, and it makes conditions right for the body to heal itself physically, and emotional difficulties often disappear or just become much easier to handle. So I'd love to hear if anyone's joining me live today. If you are, just comment with where you're from. I'd love to see where everyone's coming in from. And if you do want to volunteer today to release some of that aches and pains, I am looking for volunteers. So just comment with what your pain is, like where it is on your body, and what do you think the severity is on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. So you're not going to have to come on camera with me. You can just comment in the comments and I can work with you from there once I have your permission. So you might be wondering, well, what the heck is this emotion code thing? So the emotion code is a process that allows you to release negative trapped emotions. So during your life, as you go through different events and things happen to you, if you don't release the emotions at that time, they just store in your body like little balls of energy all over around. And, they can come up later when you're trying to do different things. So you can have, Dr. Brad figures, about 200 or 300 trapped emotions, and you can have the same emotion for multiple events. So, but you can also have multiple emotions for one event. So I know a lot of us, as we were growing up, we're probably told, clamp it down, get over it, do whatever. We were never really taught how to process emotions. So this is a way that we can do that. And it's very easy and non-invasive. That's what I like about it. So just so you know what it is, I'll just kind of go over what the emotion code is. It was developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson, and he wrote a book. There it is, The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. So if you're interested, you check this out. If you want, I highly recommend reading the book. You can learn how to do this process on yourself or your friends or your family or even your pets. And the first thing you're going to need to know is that you start with the emotion code chart. So Dr. Brad developed this chart. It uses 60 negative emotions. Of course, they're all going to be kind of negative emotions because those are the ones we want to get rid of. Of course, we want more of the good ones and less of the bad ones. So on this chart, there's 60 emotions divided up into 2 columns and 6 rows. And so it's easy to navigate around and determine which emotion is what is keeping you stuck in with whatever you have or what your pain is. And the nice thing is we don't have to be in person to do it. I do most of my work either by a video call, phone call, or even by email or messenger. But in order to do the process and go through it, I do need to get your permission. So I can't just go around doing it on everyone, as much as tempting as that might be. So I get your permission and then I become your proxy. And so I basically do the work on myself as if I am you. And like I said, you can do it on yourself, you can do it on other people, and you can do it on animals. It's really fun. Like I worked on one lady's horse. I'm here near Vancouver, Canada, and the horse was in Colorado. So you don't even have to be anywhere near them. So as I said, once I get your permission, I become your proxy. And that just means that I'm going to be doing the work on myself. So I'm basically connecting up to your personal Wi-Fi, to your subconscious. And then I use muscle testing, which is the next step. And that's how I connect to your subconscious, and I'm able to ask the questions, determine which emotions are the ones that are causing the pain, and we can take it from there. There's a few different ways of doing muscle testing. If you're interested in it, you can look it up on the YouTube or somewhere and see some different videos. The really basic one you can do on yourself is sway testing. I do a method called the ring method. So I kind of take my ring fingers with my thumbs and I lock them together. And then when I'm asking the question, which emotion it is, if it's a yes answer, it stays locked. And if it's a no, the fingers just slip right through. And we can only use it for yes and no answer questions. We can't use muscle testing for predicting things, but I know in Chinese medicine, there is a lot of work that it's done using muscle testing to determine what's going on in your body. So it is really interesting to look into. So the other thing we're going to check with when we're doing this is what your severity of the pain is. So you're going to check, you can tell me what you think your severity is on a scale of 1 to 10, with course 10 being the worst. And after we've done the work, it'll come down. Now, ideally, you want to get down to a 0. Sometimes you'll get to a 0 today, but the 0 today doesn't necessarily mean that it's all gone. Just means that it's enough for today, because your body will only allow you to do so much work at one session. And it's kind of like peeling the onion. That's the thing with sort of energy type work. Sometimes, you're just peeling off the layer. As you take off one layer, it exposes another layer. So sometimes, depending on what it is, it can take a bit to get everything released. And other kinds of things, like say food cravings, it can be a one and done. We can just do one session, and all of a sudden you're not craving that food anymore, especially like potato chips. That's a big one with people. And it's not like you're feeling deprived. You just don't even care if you have them anymore, which is, unusual for most people, because usually you can't just eat one chip, right? So some of the other things that you can use the emotion code for are anxieties, fears, limiting beliefs, if you are negative self-talk, procrastination, allergies. So I do have a menu that has more of the items on it. And if you're interested in finding out more of the things that you can use the emotion code for, just in the comments, type in menu and I'll send you that sheet out. And then once we determine what the emotions are, we need to get rid of them. So we need to erase them from your energy. And the way we do that is by using a magnet. Now, the cool thing with the magnets is it doesn't have to be a fancy magnet. Some people have some really cool ones that they buy online, but you can just use a regular fridge magnet. Some people even just use their hand. Just that intention of doing it is just as good. For me, I have my emotion code chart, which also happens to be a magnet. So it's very handy. And then what I do is I just swipe 3 times over my head like that. And that just goes along the governing meridian, which goes from your nose all the way down the back of your spine. So as long as you swipe along that, anywhere along that, that's what just evaporates the energy out into the field and gets it away from you. So it's kind of like deleting the magnetic strip off the back of your credit card. And then one more thing is at the beginning to make sure that I'm hydrated, and it helps if the client is also hydrated as well. So there you go. That's how we delete this pain. It can be for, like I said, aches and pains, many other things. So if that's something you're kind of interested in, if you want to read the book, you can. Like I said, if you want to just see a menu, type in menu and I'll send that off to you. Or if you're ready to book an appointment, here's my calendar link and we can get started on your road to recovery. So thanks so much for joining me here today, guys. I'll see you again next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific.